Adjustments. It is Monday. And do we have a quorum? I believe we do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of us here today working overtime. And we got that quorum. Let's see, we go to public comment. Is there any public comment?
Yes, sir. We have Mr. Michael Bradley.
Okay, Michael.
You guys are ready.
Will you state your name for the...
Yes. Hi, my name is Michael Bradley. I live in District 4 at 1433 Montague Avenue. It's over in Paul Ann. So I was looking at the agenda, and it looks like maybe I have the same question that some other folks do, and it's about whether the zoning board would ever consider variances for the required 25-foot yard for a carport structure. So I've talked to some other people I know that are interested in the same thing, and basically we're trying to understand the reasoning behind it, since we would be building a structure that's pretty much over a paved driveway. We're not trying to build something in the yard, if that makes sense. And I think I was here about a year ago, and what I was told is there is some talk on maybe either changing the rules or maybe starting to consider a variance for people. Because last I checked, car insurance up is about 26% overall. And here in Texas, because of the storms, like one we just got, in fact, we had hail just last week. We got hit with hail. So that's basically what I'm trying to see if you guys would be interested in, or if that's possible, if I can apply for a permit, or, yeah.
Well,
that's all I have.
Chairman, may I comment? So actually, this item just came before City Council, their last meeting, so it's something that is on their radar to look at, potentially expanding or doing something, changes to the rules on carports. So we don't have a specific answer for you, but it is something that staff is working on and council is involved with.
I appreciate it. I know I emailed my city council people, and they've never responded. So I kind of gave up on that. I don't know if I just had to show up to the meetings, but yeah, I know about a year ago, that's what I was told, is that people were talking about it. So I just didn't know what progress has been made. So.
Do you have a 1 or 2 car garage?
They call it a 2-car garage, so I could probably get 2 smart cars. No, let's just say that.
Okay.
And that's what this same question came up before. So if that makes any sense, it's one of those.
Yeah.
Theory 2-car garage.
Yeah, some of the houses out there are 1-car garage. That's the reason I asked.
All right. Hey, I appreciate everybody's time.
Thank you very much. Is that it? Let me close public comment, and item number 3, review and take any action related to minute records of the regular meeting held Monday, March 3rd, 2025. Is there any questions? Has everybody had a chance to look?
I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion to approve in a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 6-0. Item number 4, let's see, ZBA 25-03, 2501 West Avenue L, a request for approval of a 5-foot front yard setback in lieu of the required 25 feet for a carport structure at 2501 West Avenue L in the single-family residential RS1 zoning district. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Kim Garmany, Planning and Development Services Administrator. So you're going to get to talk about carports right now. It's been in front of City Council. We have concerned citizens coming forward. And so we do have a case coming forward that you'll get to debate on and think through some of the specifics, which then will likely be, added into and considered in the City Council conversation as those move forward. And first, I want to publicly apologize, Ms. Stone. The applicant did come into our office when I first started here, and I spoke with her, and I never got back to her until this actually came before us. And so I did want to publicly apologize for that. It was my first week, and things were overwhelming, and I don't want that to be the reputation that our department gets, and so we're actively trying to make sure things like that don't happen. So I'm sorry that fell through the cracks, and I'm glad that we're here today addressing the situation. Okay.
You're not holding your mouth right.
Oh, no. Let me see here. Austin, would you mind, yeah. Do you want to see if you can make it? Okay.
Out of battery or something? Okay.
It could be in the wrong one. I'm just glad that I wasn't, that Austin didn't get up here and then immediately make it work, because that's always really embarrassing. Okay, so we are talking about 2501 West Avenue L. It is in the Santa Rita neighborhood in Miss Karen Hesse-Smith's district. It is in RS1, and the future vision plan for the area is neighborhood. You'll see the lot outlined right there on the map. It is 0.138 acres, and the request is for approval of a 5-foot front yard setback in lieu of the required 25-foot setback. Okay. We mailed 14 notifications. You'll see the green is the notification area, and we didn't receive any feedback returned either way. Okay, so the home was originally built in 1949 and was purchased by the current owner in 2017, just to kind of give us an idea of where we are in a timeline. Additionally, the open structure overlay was passed and adopted by City Council in 2005. The home is not in the open structure overlay, which means that they are subject to the 25-foot setback, just as the rest of RS1 is. One of the things that we ask in the staff report, you have those 6 reasons. Is there a special circumstance? What's going on with the lot? And so I did go through those, and the lot is a very unusual shape, and it doesn't have access to an alley. So those were the first 2 things that I considered when thinking about if there was a hardship for this case. However, when I looked at the actual size of the lot, it is 6,007 square feet, where a typical RS1 lot needs to be at least 5,000 square feet. So although it is oddly shaped, it does meet the lot requirement. Additionally, some houses in Santa Rita in this neighborhood have alley access, but many of the residents of the neighborhood don't enjoy that. So it wasn't something that I could say that specifically to this property that would cause a hardship, because many other in the neighborhood don't have alley access. The carport was built within the last 5 years, and it was built without a permit. And after going through the criteria, I was not able to find the necessary criteria for recommending approval of this variance. You'll see the pictures here. Again, it's true, this isn't an unusual shaped lot, and that's something that you all are going to have to discuss as you work your way through this case. There was not a garage on the front when this house was built in 1949. That was a question that we asked ourselves. Was there a garage that was then closed in? But it does not appear that there was one built. There is a detached garage. If you look at the bottom photo, they do have an RV there parked on the side of the home, and that is one of our recommendations to get into compliance with our ordinance and get that out of there. But right behind that, there is a freestanding garage that backs out directly onto Jackson. So you'll need to consider that fact also as we move forward.
Does any of your photos show the garage? This one? The garage that's there, okay.
No, sir, it doesn't show it from head-on, but if you look, this is the...
I see it now. Was that you think that's original structure?
I believe we looked at that in that it was built after the house was originally constructed, but I don't know the year offhand. I'm going to guess it was whenever Jackson was less populated.
Yeah. I would too.
Johnson, oh, I'm so sorry.
It
Johnson.
has a hip roof on it too. I was just wondering if it might have had a flat roof at one time and they put a hip on there and put that breezeway through there. I just didn't know the siding on there matches up with the siding that's on the house.
Sure, and we do have the applicants here today, so if you have
That's fine.
specific questions, that I think
I
they'd
like
be
that
happy.
breezeway through there.
Do you have any other questions for me?
No,
Or want to go back and look at any of the slides again? There's a lot of information for this one.
Go ahead. The house next door has a front entry garage, doesn't it? And this one never had a garage.
Correct.
Except at the back. Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your
Oh, no,
presentation.
Finished.
Are you finished?
Yes, sir. I'm just
Okay.
waiting for questions to see if I can
Do
answer.
you have any
anything.
questions?
So the recommendation, following ordinance and what I discovered, my recommendation is denial. Of course, you all have the final say in how this case goes. And like I said, we are recommending that the applicant follow through with removing the RV permanently from the Johnson side. I put Jackson in there, so sorry. And seeking approval from city council for the row encroachment, because they do need city council approval to have that paved area on the side of their home.
Do you, the shape of that hole for the two houses there, Avenue L in front, Avenue N on the back, and Johnson on the other side. House was built in 1949. They just started construction out there at the San Angelo College in 1947, right? Correct? I'm wondering what, if I was the builder, which I have been known to do that, I'm wondering what the builder was thinking when he put the garage on the Johnson Street side there. I wonder if Johnson ran all the way through at that time. I wouldn't think so. You know, Mason? Would you know? Would you know? Avenue N, this was kind of towards that end of town.
Yes, sir.
You
Yep.
know, I remember hearing stuff about Sol Ross and all that, but that was in the late 50s. I wonder where Avenue N ended. You know, the traffic pattern when that was put there just kind of, it's grown over the years, wouldn't you say? And it's made that Johnson Street.
Agreed.
Yeah, well,
Ag-
it
agreed.
looks like Avenue L would be the least traveled traffic pattern. But, okay, that's an unusual lot. Would that be, if I came in with the preliminary plat today, would y'all approve that as an R1? Next door you have, what's that? Shireen Jackson's.
Yeah, it's Jackson's.
Yeah,
Across the
all
street.
that's,
It's across, it's right on the other
yeah, all
corner.
that's commercial, and then all of a sudden it jumps over to residential right across the street.
We did, and we discussed this for
Yes.
sure. And so the vision plan, what city council sees moving forward is still neighborhood. However, if I were a builder or if I were platting this, putting a new house on there, it wouldn't work. We did look at the setbacks. It has, double frontage. We don't have triple frontage, but if we did, it would. So,
It would almost be impossible to build a new
yes,
structure
ma'am.
there.
Yes, ma'am.
It's kind of interesting, because the commercial is coming, it's Johnson. It almost looks like it stopped right there, and then the developer put the rest of the subdivision. But for that to become a residential, I don't think, as a developer, I'd want that residential right there anyway. But anyway, that's beside the point.
Okay. And we do have the applicant.
Okay.
Can you go back to the pictures, please?
Good afternoon.
Hi, state your name, please.
Kiva Stone, 2501 West Avenue L.
Welcome.
The
pictures.
Thank you. I guess, I just have a few comments. In what I got from Aaron about the denial, says that there are many other homes in the neighborhood that do not have alleys. My next door neighbor and I, and the one directly across Johnson are the only three in that neighborhood that do not have alleys. That's it. Everybody else has an alley. I don't know what many constitutes, but there's only three. Also, it says that I'm not deprived of the rights commonly enjoyed by others. I have numerous pictures within walking distance, mile and a half, of pictures that was in the packet I presented to city council that have carports. Side of the house, front of the house, all over the house. My question too is there's one up the street that has two canopies. So I can take the carport down and put a canopy up and put 5-gallon buckets. I'm asking,
You'd probably be back here if they caught you.
Do what?
You'd probably be back up here.
Well,
if
I'm
they
gonna be
got-
back here anyway for the RV, because
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
RVs all in my neighborhood.
yeah.
And, I'm just trying to make it look better. It didn't even have a driveway. They parked in the grass. I mean,
Well,
But I also can make it look real ugly too, and that's not what I want to do. But it is what it is. And you say it's at city council. He's been here a year ago. What is the timeline? Are we waiting 5 more years before y'all decide to talk about carports again? I mean, I've been
what
doing
we're
this
here-
2 years.
What we're here today is on this particular item on this agenda.
Okay.
And as
Well,
far
and I
as
am
predicting,
deprived.
as far as predicting what happens with city council, that's way beyond us.
I understand that.
We are a quasi-judicial board
understand
here.
that.
And we're going to try to rule on your case, particular case, and try to find, if we can, some help, some
Okay,
relief. if we
because
can,
in here
we
it
can.
says there's another solution, and I just need to know what it is, what the solution is.
Okay.
Does it,
Y'all have
Well,
questions for
well,
me?
let's see, she mentioned you didn't get a permit.
Correct. I
Okay.
did not know,
Yes,
single, 8 years ago when I moved back, I did not realize I needed a permit.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, I have a master's, and reading through the ordinances is a little, it's a little hard.
You tell me what it says after you
Little
read through it.
hard.
I've been reading through them a long time.
Sometimes the letters and the numbers aren't
But
exactly the
now,
word.
let me ask you this, when I went out and looked and drove around, your house didn't originally have a garage there. Is that a kitchen? That front window, that little window?
That is the living room. The one where the carport is the kitchen, yes, sir.
That's the kitchen and your living room's there. So
Right.
I looked at the foundation.
And
There
the
was never a
garage in the
garage
back.
there at
I'm
all.
sorry?
There was never a garage on the front. It wasn't
Correct.
closed in.
The one on the side, our golf cart barely fixed it.
Yes, it's very small.
It's very small.
Did you have a contractor install
The
that
carport?
carport?
Yes, ma'am.
And your contractor didn't reach out to get a permit?
They
Was
did
he a
not.
licensed contractor?
He was. They are no longer in San Angelo, but they're based out of Waco? Somewhere outside Waco. Which, when I applied for the permit, all the specs and everything are in there, and his stuff is in there.
When you applied for the permit?
After they said I needed when I got the first letter,
Okay.
it was for permit only. Never did they know that it wasn't in an open structure until I went down to city council and tried to talk to people. And when I'm talking to the girl up front, I think her name's Julie, she was in that, and Elston was talking to me, and we were pulling up. I was trying to show another carport, and he said, hang on, see this red? And I said, yes, sir. And he said, that's open structure. You're not in the open structure. I said, well, that's never been brought up, showed me. I got it for not having a permit. So now they've reissued it a year later for no permit and not an open structure. So the recommendation that Aaron gave me was to reach out to my city councilman and see if we could maybe change the ordinance. I've reached out 5 times and never had a reply.
You gotta go camp out on the front porch, don't you?
Well,
Yeah.
I've been at I've got a timeline of everything I've done. I've been
Yeah.
down to City Hall numerous times. No one's ever got back to me.
Yes. And what staff is doing, they're doing literal interpretation of the black and white code. You're here, we're hearing you.
Okay.
And we try to find the
I know.
We try to help out.
I understand that.
wiggle room,
But
but
we do have an
And
they're
I'm
little,
learning
they're
along the
little,
way. I'm just trying to figure out what we need to do.
Well, we're getting there. We're moving-
Okay.
yeah,
We are
Doing well,
getting
you're
there.
doing
Okay.
well, keep going.
Any other questions for me?
so you said in your letter that there was another, I forgot what you said on the. Option? Does it, what is the other
It
option?
doesn't give me that. It just says there are other options. It says, let me see. Let me see where it is. I wrote it down.
Well, I'm the one who wrote it. So I wrote other options because of the size of the lot. They could try to put something in the back, but then that would mean getting an approach off of Avenue N. They could shorten their carport, but that would mean it wouldn't cover all of their cars. So there are other options, but none of them are optimal.
And one thing is, because that is a triangle, because they don't want to hit the light at Johnson, they do cut through. We're very busy. I have numerous college kids that live up the street, and they walk constantly. I don't see parking in the street was very good for pedestrians. That's why I poured the concrete and made a driveway. It's heavily, I've lived around ASU my whole life. I lived on Rosemont on the opposite corner. And so, it's growing. And I'm glad it is, but it is a very busy island.
Yeah.
It is an island.
Yes, it is. I'm on
What
an
is,
island all
what,
alone.
what is the right of way? How much right of way is there? He says you want 5-foot setback from the,
25 foot.
let me reread this.
They're requesting a 5-foot variance.
Right now, from
25.
their property line, they have 5 feet. From the,
That's the
From
right
the-
of way?
To the carport,
yes, ma'am.
they're 17 feet from the street.
From the right of way.
Okay,
Yeah,
what's the right of way?
No.
your property line.
Property line.
Yes, ma'am. And then beyond that is the right of way for the city
And it
to,
has to be how many?
well, your setback has to be 25 feet.
So the right of way is what, 10 feet or 5
Uh-huh.
feet?
Yes, so where you have
I'm not,
that
sure.
end
I
of that
didn't measure the
driveway.
right of way. I'm so
Because-
sorry. It
no,
looks
that's
like
fine.
it's
The
10
right of way.
feet.
I couldn't
That's what
tell.
she's explaining.
So where that red ends is the right of way? Is that
It's
correct?
10.
The red lines are your property lines, yes, ma'am. And so in between the property line and the street is the right of way.
Has to be how many feet?
I don't
It'd
think
be on
they're-
your survey probably, if you have a survey.
I just meant how many does it have to be?
From the red line, are you saying 25 feet from the red line or from the street?
from the red line,
From
from
the
your
red line.
property
That's what I
line.
was
Sorry,
asking.
I'm sorry.
25 feet from the red line
Yes,
out,
ma'am.
okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I don't even think the house is 25 feet from the street.
Well, it looks like the carport is how long, 20?
Yes, sir.
20. It's not in the right of way, is it? Okay.
Is there an option if they didn't have that open drive or carport and if it was technically attached and took up that extra footage?
The setbacks would still have to be the same, no matter the architectural style of the carport.
But it wouldn't be within that setback amount if it were, obviously there's a difference between where the carport is now and then however many feet to the actual roof line. So if it was technically tied in, is it going to be?
I think there's maybe of 2 feet between the carport and the house.
Yeah, and then you get into the thing, I looked at this also to see, because thinking about if you set the poles for the carport back, then we could measure from there, but then you're getting really close to your house.
You're not gaining much.
Yes, no, ma'am.
At all.
And you can only have, I believe, a 24-inch overhang off of that carport. So even if you put the poles way back, it wouldn't cover very much.
Well, the developer of that area, I believe, was Ted Brown. He always had his houses set back 30 to 35 feet. This looks like it's a little closer. One's across the street, see how much further they're set back. Probably to get on that lot. So if you got 25 feet, there's still 5 foot left. You wouldn't be in the right of way. I think it'd be worded different. Anyway. Sorry, go ahead.
Any more questions?
Well, let's just assume,
Did you also lay this concrete pad?
Yes,
that
ma'am.
the RV is on?
Yes, ma'am.
At the same time you did the carport?
No, ma'am. Separate.
Did you get a permit for that?
He went down, we wanted a circular drive, and they told him no, but as long as he didn't cut the curb, he could put the concrete there.
The concrete
The concrete,
contractor? Okay.
person that laid the concrete. Yes, ma'am.
So there was a curb cut.
We have the driveway going to the garage and then connected to that concrete.
Sir, yeah, please come up and speak freely, my friend.
I can tell you what he's saying. The concrete that's at the garage was there. We just extended it up to the house, and that whole side is concrete.
But you didn't insert like a driveway up to that? You just left it in the garage?
Just from the existing driveway on the side of the house.
Can you introduce yourself, sir? I'd love to meet you.
Sorry, my name's James Stone.
Thanks.
Yeah, just from the existing driveway that was going to the garage. We went from there to the very front of the house with concrete all the way up.
whatever we decide, whatever happens, I'm just one vote, but here, just one vote. I would have a issue with the design of that carport as far as being goodness, what's the word? Needs some more curb appeal to it, let's call it that,
Or what?
curb appeal. Would you have any problem whatsoever of saying, dressing it up a little bit with some brick columns there on the front, type deal, even though there's not any brick structures around there?
Can I approach or show you pictures? Sure. Okay.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I would, because this is my neighborhood, and I think mine looks a lot better than that.
Let me see.
These are in my neighborhood.
I saw the one across the street, that's not
You
even,
took it down and you put up a
fit
carport.
6 foot
I mean,
fence
a canopy, a yellow canopy, with yellow tents.
and a 6 foot fence. Yeah.
And I don't, I didn't have a problem with it. I didn't complain. This one, I don't believe is cosmetically better than mine.
Well, I'm just curious.
I mean, I'm asking why I have to do it and other people do not.
Well, because we're special here. We're just special. We're gonna make it look good. Well, it does, but there isn't many in the, when I drove around, I didn't see any carports in the neighborhood.
Well, then you're gonna have to ride with me, because I got 5 more coming up here.
Okay, in the existing, I mean, right in that surrounding area? Well, I didn't drive every street.
I'm sorry?
I didn't go down every street, but I didn't see many.
Yeah.
If-
This one is,
There's quite a few.
these are in Santa Rita, this one's on Austin, this one's on Beauregard,
Austin,
this one is on Austin.
Well, that's not
I think
the
it's like
neighborhood.
15 Austin Street, that
Which one?
two-story. It's the
I
two-story.
was kinda-
I'm
I was-
familiar with
I
it,
I
yes.
wasn't driving the whole Santa Rita.
This one is in Santa Rita, this one's on
This
Beauregard.
one's not anywhere near.
Yeah,
It's on the
we,
corner, it's on a weird different
yeah,
lot.
And they've been there forever. I say that, the guy across the street had his 27 years.
yeah, you got any
So,
suggestions?
you
We
got
really
any-
need to capture the comments through the microphone if we
You
can, please.
got any suggestions on how you might want to dress that up a little bit?
So, Mr. Chairman, I want to address that in just a minute. At council this last week, when we discussed this, one of the hard things that council, I think, is struggling with is that there's legislation where we can't regulate the materials
Okay.
for certain things, and this is one of those things where we can't require people to build it with stone or brick or anything, because if the model codes that are adopted allow a certain material, we have to allow it. So I don't think we can enforce
Is
that.
that's kind of a new point. Now, did it pass? Is it passed or?
Well, that was at the state level. Yes, it passed. Yes,
Did
sir.
it? Okay, okay. Forget it.
Oh, never mind, okay.
Are you, Mr. Chairman, are you referring, did it pass within council or at the state level?
State.
Okay, okay.
I don't
My
think-
understanding, it's tabled at the council level.
Is it on
Yes,
the
sir.
materials?
Is that correct? Or,
On the
Well,
materials
I mean,
issue?
they've given staff direction to keep working on it. I mean, I think there were a couple of things they wanted to try to address with the understanding that we can't regulate materials. And so if we're going to allow them, we're going to have to do it with the understanding that, we may not get to decide what it looks like. So we're working through that. Aaron received some direction, and we will be bringing it back at some point. But I'm sorry, ma'am, no timeline at this point, I'm
Do
sorry.
you think it could be negotiated at this level with the applicant?
No, so,
Okay.
I mean, if they meet the variance criteria, of course, you can grant the variance, but I don't think you can condition it on certain materials being
Gotcha.
used.
Gotcha, okay.
I have a question for, I guess, city staff. Twice, we've mentioned lack of alley. I'm just curious what that has to do with this case. Is that is it or is it not, there's no wrong answer, a hardship to preclude from any building of a carport?
It's not a hardship, it's just something that we see in San Angelo a lot, especially with the older homes. And many of the homes around the Santa Rita neighborhood, they use their alleys for parking specifically. And you can put any kind of carport in your backyard, so they don't have that option.
I see. But as it pertains to the 6 criteria, it is not, having an alley is not a hardship.
No, sir.
Okay.
And is it? I mean, so this was a very hard case for me to present
Sure.
the way that we did, but I felt like I had to follow exactly what we have now, and with the understanding that this is a bigger conversation going on. And so is it a hardship that they don't have an alley? And what does that mean for the wider development community and houses being built now? And like, how do we integrate all of that as we're thinking how we solve this problem on a bigger level around town?
One at a time, right?
Well, that sounds tedious.
No, you're doing the literal interpretation thing. It just doesn't have any wiggle room.
But more poignantly, this is not in the city overlay where it is, say, allowed.
Correct.
Correct?
Correct.
Number two, this was built in 2017 without a permit.
Correct.
Okay, no further questions.
And by
That's what I was trying to
allowed,
find out, unknowingly to her, or if it was done knowingly by you, your spouse, or anyone like that.
I think she covered
the
that. Didn't you call
contractor.
down there?
Yes, she did.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Any more? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Good job. All right.
So is there an open structure overlay in that area? And if so, where does it begin and end?
no ma'am, it is not in that area, and I don't have a map of where it is. Of course she does. Thank you so much. You're so prepared. Appreciate that.
Do you need, we're a little bit short in the planning department. Do you need a job?
And what the open structure overlay means, it means that there is the ability to be more flexible and to have different variances. Right. And it also, because it was established before the 2019 rule went into effect about materials, it does have architectural material designs associated with it.
And as a note, I heard at the city council meeting, they will not change the overlay layout at the moment.
They did,
That's
yeah,
what
they
they
didn't
said.
have any,
They would not be accepting any changes to that layout for the time being.
correct.
So
Yes, ma'am.
I got a feeling that that's stuck.
And this isn't for the pub, I mean, this is access to me, I had to go up there and,
I'll give it back.
accidentally got caught,
Okay.
accidentally showed them. We're here, I don't know how far down it goes, but we are on the avenue. And all of this, the dark part is in the open structure.
Okay.
Okay? Might go the other way, I may have it sideways.
It is in the open structure. Oh,
And just, I think I understand this right, but I think the open structure, it hadn't been updated since 1958. So,
not sure about that. There's been some spot areas that's been.
spotting, but
Yeah.
not in our
Yeah.
area.
The open structure overlay was adopted in 2005.
So it doesn't show that in the,
She's yours.
or the code, when you go to the code.
Yes, ma'am.
It says 1958, I believe.
For RS1, okay, I'll look into, thank you.
You know what I think the codes ought to say when you open it up? Everything needs a permit.
Right.
The big, black, red, whatever.
True.
Because they're
I'm
hard
not
to
in
read.
building, I was an educator, so I
They're
had no
hard to
clue
read.
what needed
Yeah,
to
what do you
be
need a
said.
permit or what do you not? And,
Yeah.
I mean, I looked through them one time about carports and underneath the front, kind of the front page, it said, you need a permit for a brick ledge. I thought, my goodness gracious. There it was, right on the front, but the carport stuff was buried in there. I did talk to some people about it. Just put on there, everything needs a permit, or most everything.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Big bubble ladders across there. Brick ledges, you don't need brick ledges on the front page. Now, this is allowed?
So those, the shaded area is allowed.
Wow. All right.
And she's just.
Board,
put the
discussion?
blocks off the unshaded.
Mason, Mr. Brooks?
The only question I have is on 2507 Avenue L and across the street, 2419, I guess again, Avenue L, the 3 residences, quote, without an alley, end quote. What are the other 2 residences doing to mitigate this problem? Okay.
This house was not built with the garage on the front towards Avenue.
The house 2507 has a garage. If you're looking at this picture right here, it's to the left, it's where the driveway comes in. The house across the street, if I remember correctly, when I drove by it, it has a carport in the middle of the driveway. Well, it did not too long ago. It has one similar to what they have, but it's in the middle of the driveway with a
Right,
lot
it
of
was
stuff
an illegal
underneath it.
carport, which has since been torn down.
Do what?
It was an illegal carport, which has since been torn down across the street.
Oh, okay. Sorry, it was a little bit of an
It's a
echo.
peculiar shaped tract of land. They just squeezed that two lots, two houses on there. Yeah. And they put the garage on the front,
Pretty
put it on
much.
the side on
There was a
Johnson.
bunch of stuff underneath it, I remember.
More. Ms. Brooks?
I think it's, are we in discussion with us?
Yes.
Okay. I obviously travel those streets quite a bit, so I know that Johnson is very difficult to get in and out of on that Johnson side,
I'd agree.
even if a car technically did fit in that garage. I mean, if there's something that, hopefully we can find a solution so that they can at least have some kind of covered parking.
Well, you have to get into the special circumstances part of it. And it is peculiar to the land because it's a peculiar piece of property. I mean, it's just the way it's laid out. It was not built with the garage. The garage was on the back. You know, what's happened over the last 80 years to create this situation and that, I don't know. And those actions are not a result of that. And I think if we literally do the literal interpretation, we're kind of, they don't have a place to park their vehicles out of the weather.
So, city, and you may have already answered this, where the RV is. Technically, well, never mind. I answered my question in my own head. Because I was about to say, could they just have the carport come off of that, but then that would still not meet the sideline setback, correct?
I think granting the variance is a minimum action for this. I don't,
Do what?
I think granting the variance for it is the minimum action under this checklist. I don't think it's contrary to the public interest at all. Those houses, it's just an unusual land, a lot of land there. Those are my comments.
It's been there since 2017. I don't think it is making an issue. It's working as intended. The only issue that, and of course, I think you addressed that you're doing something with the RV. That's, you know, when you do pull up to that sign, I go down that street all the time going home. And so it is sometimes difficult to see around the RV, you know, to go across the street. But the carport, I don't see an issue with.
Okay.
I guess my only comment to us would be number 5, granting the variance will not adversely affect adjacent land in a material way. City views that it would, because it would open up, in essence, everybody not in a gray area on that map for front-facing or a hodgepodge of carports. So I would,
It would only do that if we actually, if the variance or the ordinance were to change. You do these on an independent basis.
right, but to her point, there's several already happening, and I just wouldn't want to open us up for future
Understand.
issues down the road.
Yeah, that lot configuration is different.
Unique.
Yeah, it's unique.
It's very unique. And you know, anytime you vote on anything, it opens up.
Like I said, I
That
think,
area.
Sure.
I think it'd been, today, I think it'd be zone commercial. With the issue and all that over there.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
How long has this been going on that they've been trying to get this straight? 2 years. 2 years. And y'all have had it up since 2017?
Correct.
How? I don't get that.
You got a 1 through 6 pretty well.
So in the city of San Angelo, code compliance is based on complaints. So at some point, someone complained, and that is how the notice of violation and that process got started.
Was it the complaint on the RV, and then you opened yourself up to that with the, when you came in about the RV?
Was complained before we had it, before we moved it. The RV was there before, well, the carport was there. The RV was parked there. We've only had it a year, 2 years. And we got a complaint, we moved it. We know someone on the code compliance, the water side or whatever, and then there's one on the, and then Rudy is who I talked to numerous times when he would call me about the carport. We went a year with Rudy back with me and him, and he was like, have you come to a, are you gonna take it down? I said, no, sir, I'm going to, he said, you need to go to City Hall. I said, I have, I've gone for a year. I've got it all documented. Every time I went, never got an answer, never got a reply. Contacted my city councilman, never got a reply. Went and talked to her, never got a reply. It wasn't just one person, it wasn't. The complaint, I was told, can be from Rudy driving home and back or to when he goes to eat, okay? Then I was told it was a military man in the neighborhood. And my thing was, is if mine is complained on, why was the one not across the street complained on? He had stuff all underneath it. Y'all saw it. I mean, I've got pictures. He had his for 27 years. Why is it a problem now?
Maybe you ought to go play the lottery.
I do.
Okay.
And when I win it,
Just a lucky
I
draw,
tell you
right?
right now what's going to be there. It's not going to be nice.
Okay.
And these
We ain't gonna
complaints-
Split the difference, right? You
Yeah,
Sherry? Okay.
yeah.
These complaints were specific to the carport as opposed to the RV?
The carport, I got a written letter, I've got the date, he sent, and it said, I've noticed, they didn't say a word about the car part when they said something about the RV. But then all of a sudden, now it's the carport, that it didn't have a permit. So that's what I went down to do. And that's how it evolved, me doing the job, trying to find out that they found out I wasn't in an open structure. So now I got reissued 3 months later. I got issued that, you know, it's not open structure. And then January of this year, the guy across the street got one. I didn't complain. I had no problem with it. And he took his down because his wife and him were tired of fighting the city. But I believe his could be put in the backyard, and he did put his in the backyard.
Okay.
So,
All right.
okay.
I got another question. How many complaints does it take for y'all to bring this case up again? And if we come to an agreement on this, is it going to be brought up again?
If
Or
we,
is this the
if we
final?
vote on it and the variance gets
It's
granted,
dead,
then
yeah.
it's dead in the water, and she can
And
either keep it or not, and it, even complaints
That'll be it? No more? Okay.
for the carport, not for the,
Not for the...
not for
Ma'am,
the
I have
RV.
one more question before you, I'm sorry. Do you, when this was built in 2017, we've already visited about the permits and the contractor and how, I guess, they're not here anymore, sounds like? or-
Correct, but they are based out of Waco.
Okay, neither here nor there.
Right.
If you build something in here, you should go through the permitting process. What I'm trying to discern is if you're, what's the word I'm looking for? If you're paying the price for their ignorance, albeit you did enter into a contract, so are you secondhand, if you will, responsible for their ignorance? And I don't know.
I mean, when I
don't know.
go to a contractor to do something, you assume that they know.
Yeah, but you know
I
what happens
can't
when you assume.
but
I know this is
how
on
would I
YouTube,
know?
but,
Why do you tell me that, however many years later?
I understand, so, but
8 years later, you're telling me?
I would guess it falls on the property owner.
You do? I would agree as well. As a personal responsibility, I would agree.
Right.
unfortunately in this case, but I agree.
Yeah, when they don't, I mean, like I said, they just basically, everything needs a permit. I mean, it's a break, there's less things that don't need a permit than things that need a permit. And it's hard to find, Mr.
Well,
You know what? guy.
Mr. Chairman,
I didn't see you in here.
I came in late, but can I address the
Yes,
board on a
yes,
couple
sir.
of questions
Yes,
that may have been answered or asked?
Yes,
Maybe
sir.
I have a few clarifying answers, and I'll start with Mr. Rivas, who's asked some very good questions. One of the challenges, there are multiple departments that deal with violations like this. Our role as planning is doing the stuff before the 8 years, before their contractor didn't come, and now we're at the end trying to solve it. So while this may allow the carport in a setback that's closer than 25 feet, they still have processes to go through with the city, which planning may or may not be a part of. And so I just want to make that clear, that this may not solve everything for them. So I understand that holistically, the goal is that, you know, if one entity within the city is working on something, that is communicated around so that everybody's working on it together. I will say the applicant, yes, they did come to the city multiple times. I know each time that we have documented that they came to planning, an answer was given. And the answer was, you can go to ZBA, but the city staff would not support it. And so once they did go to city council, then they did submit an application to come to the ZBA. It was past the April date and past our required state notices. And so we were not able to get it to the April date. That's why it's delayed until May, this date today. I do think the staff did struggle with this area. There is a challenge with open structures in our community. And the number one challenge, and Mr. Cortez has mentioned it numerous times, is contractors failing to get a permit. And unfortunately, property owners get stuck in the middle because they believe the contractor's doing what they're supposed to do. And then years later, because someone makes a complaint, the structure's still not permitted, which then it may not be in the open structure overlay. And that is challenging for our community. And so that's why Councilwoman Gonzalez asked to bring forward some discussion items on open structures. Through our investigation, the state will no longer let cities control materials, slope, or how they look. So that's concerning for some of our neighborhoods. Some of our neighborhoods it may not be. But we have not been able to work through where should those be allowed and allowed by right. And it's really a setback issue at this point, not a design issue. I think back in 2005, that was both a setback and design issue. The overriding rule was if it looks like it's integral to the house, it's been there, maybe it kind of looks original, that property allows to hold and grow its valuation like a next door property that may not have that and doesn't have something that looks like it's added on. And so that's where our challenge is from planning, is trying to decide, does this impact adjacent properties? While we understand and have the common sense and understand what the purpose is of an open structure and why it's there to protect property, we're not there just looking at in property A. We're looking at property A, B, C, D, all the way through Z and then some. And how does this impact the entire community? So I'm not sure that answered all your questions, but I'm happy to stay here if you have any other questions for me.
May I ask his name?
I'm Aaron Vanoy, Director of Planning and Development Services. Sorry, ma'am.
I think you covered it well. I don't have a question.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Chairman.
Mr. Rivas? And that-
That's it, that's
Okay.
good enough for me.
Right, all right, we got through the board discussion, and so now I'm gonna ask for a motion.
As much as it pains me, I'll make a motion that we support the denial found by staff.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Okay,
And my pain is also noted for the record. That's tough.
It is.
okay. Got a motion to, what do we call it? Motion to deny? We have a motion to deny and a second. Do it, take a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Now what, boss? 3-3. 3-3.
I think it was tied 3-3.
Yeah, so, I mean, the motion doesn't pass.
Motion doesn't pass.
In order to grant the variance, you need a 6-0.
On a small deal. Another motion?
Make a motion to approve the variance.
I'll second.
Okay, there's a motion to approve and a second. Let's discuss this. Is there any, so the legislation came down about materials, correct? There's no other legislation that we know about with these kind of stuff, carports and everything? Okay. Okay, I got a motion to approve and a second. We'll go for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
So it's 4-2.
4-2.
4-2.
Got to be 6-0. So, the motion, no go, we have to have the 6-0 vote. So that's denied, I guess is the word, right? Denied.
Do I talk to the city on what the next step is?
I think you move up to, go to planning? Just go to planning?
District Court.
District court. District court.
Is my understanding. Is that correct?
Okay, 4-2. 4-4 and 2 against. We tried. Sorry. Yes, ma'am. How long do they have to take it down? Enforcement.
Would she appeal it?
I don't know. I guess we have to talk to code, but I mean, they get an appeal period from this decision. I think it's 30 days, so certainly nothing would happen until that appeal period is run.
Okay. Rudy? Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you very much. We did the best we could. All right, moving on. Item number 5, ZBA 25-04, 314 West 12th Street. A request for approval of a 15-foot front yard setback in lieu of the required 25 feet for a new residence at 314 West 12th Street in the two-family residential RS2 zoning district.
Thank you,
Hello,
Austin
Mr.
Reed,
Reed.
planner. This one comes to you out of the Blackshear neighborhood. It is District Number 4, Lucy Gonzalez's district. The zoning here is two-family residential RS2, and the vision plan is neighborhood. As you mentioned, we have a request for approval of a 15-foot front yard setback, whereas normally required at 25 feet. So we mailed out 31 notices, did not receive any official responses. We did technically have 2 rounds of notification for this because the variance request was changed at some point. On that original round of responses, we did receive 1 in favor, but I wasn't able to add that to this slide. So on to our staff analysis, the variance here, it's for a new single-family residence. Of course, it's a vacant lot right now. We do think that there's special circumstances and that this is a minimum size undeveloped lot. It's surrounded by other developed lots, and these residences on these developed lots have not had to comply with the front setback requirements. So we think that literal interpretation would deprive the applicant of these commonly enjoyed rights. Additionally, we think the granting the variance is in the public interest as it would promote the infill of an undeveloped residential property. So all in all, we were able to find that the necessary criteria for granting a variance can be met. Here's a look at the lot. Of course, like I said, it's just a vacant lot. There's not a lot to see here right now. And then I've included the site plan if it helps anyone. As you can see, we have that 15 feet in the front. We still have the 20 feet in the rear, and then we have about 6.5 feet on all sides, so it complies with all the other setbacks. If you want an idea of what that 15 feet looks like, 316, which is 2 doors down to the left, that's at about a 15-foot setback right now. It may be hard to see from here, but so it would appear normal for the block face. With that, we are recommending approval. If you have any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Reed?
No questions?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
Is the applicant here?
I do not believe so, and I don't think we have any public comment either.
So we don't have any comment for there, so just move on to the board discussion here.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion
Second.
to approve in a second. Let's go to the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, it passes 6-0. Number 6, division report.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to correct something I said earlier. The appeal period is actually 10 days from decisions from this board, not 30.
I'm sorry,
The appeal period is 10 days, not 30.
the appeal.
Yeah, to district court.
Oh, okay.
So I just wanted to correct
Okay.
that.
So you have 10 days.
Where's
for your
district court?
appeal to district court,
This,
to the vote,
To
vote.
Yeah.
to the outcome of today for you.
The district court.
You're appealing to district court on your behalf.
Where are they?
Right, there is no appeal to city council. It's, at this point, it's to the courts.
To the district
Yes.
court, yes, ma'am.
Where's that? County courthouse? Do we know?
Yes.
Uh,
County courthouse?
Yeah, ma'am, we can talk after, but really you need to get your own attorney to advise you on the processes. We can't give you legal advice, so.
Do they need an attorney to do it? I know. Yeah. All right, division report?
Gotta have a permit. Gotta have a permit.
Gotta have a permit. Division report, is there a division report?
Hi, Kim Garmany, Planning and Development Services Administrator. We continue to try to improve in our department. Something really amazing that Austin did this last week was set up a workshop for us to learn how to further our skills and be able to present data using GIS, more in-depth GIS than we currently do. Also, in our department right now, we are hiring. Like you said, we have been short-staffed in planning department for quite some time, and we are in the final rounds of hiring a planning technician, which will round out our team, as well as a new front desk person. We have very good candidates right now, so we're super excited. We just got a new person in combination plans review in building and inspections, and they do come from us from the development community, so we are all full on that side. That's very exciting, and I'm sure that you all have heard around town that Aaron has been working with City Council as well as public interest, people from the public who are interested in the expansion of the cultural district as well as the updated sign ordinance. There will be a joint meeting of Planning Commission and City Council on April 15th to discuss both of those things. Are there any questions?
Yes, you spoke of rounding out your team. Where is the status of rounding out our team?
Yes, sir, exactly. We continue to try to find people also interested in the public to do things like serve on your board. We have some people that we're following up with. So hopefully we will be rounding out your board as well as with the alternates. I know that it becomes very difficult to do the governance work that you need to do without the members that you need. So we continue to try to work on that. It's been a little bit difficult, though.
You mean nobody wants to come hang out with us on?
Well, I didn't want to say it directly, but yeah.
Thank you for your work.
Unfortunately, we know that you all have to make very difficult decisions, and that becomes a big responsibility that we don't have a lot of people that are clamoring to take on. So thank you is what I'm trying to say for your work and your dedication and your service to your community.
I think I see a lady back there that's ready to sign up for this board. Come on.
Okay, yes, ma'am, of course. But if there comes a time whenever you're interested, I'd love to help you. Okay. That was really good. Good way to get people in. Are there any questions about anything going on in our division? Okay, thank you.
All right, next, item number 7, next meeting agenda, the next regular meeting of the Zoning Board of Adjustments is scheduled to begin at 1:30 PM, Monday, May 5th, 2025, in the City Hall East Mezzanine Meeting Room. And item number 8, adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion-
I will second.
There's 2 and 2, unless I go for the vote. Motion to adjourn, vote.
Yes.
Aye.
Passes 6-0. Thank you.